Okay, good morning again, everybody. My name is John Given from Emtec, and today we're going to be covering PeopleSoft Can Do That. So the agenda this morning, quick overview of the Emtec Corporation. We're going to give a brief update of PeopleSoft and what's coming and what the roadmap looks like for the PeopleSoft applications. Then we're going to jump into the new features and functions within PeopleSoft. So we've organized them into three categories around reporting, user experience, and operational enhancements. Joining me this morning, I have two of our PeopleSoft consultants, Ryan Mack and Mara Duthie. They're going to be presenting on various topics this morning alongside of me. So about Emtec, we have 14 locations globally with roughly 850 associates. We are a $250 million IT services provider. We're publicly traded. Our management team is growth-oriented. We have a successful track record of delivering consistent profitability. It seems like almost daily our portfolio of services seems to grow. And for those of you who haven't heard of Emtec before, you may have heard of Emerging Solutions. We were acquired by Emtec back in August of 2011. So what makes Emtec different? We feel that we are the right size provider, so we're big enough to address the market needs, but small enough to still care about your organization. We have a localized expert pool, so it enables rapid and meaningful impact and results, and true management access, so it ensures flexibility and alignment between our two organizations as we establish our partnership. And we look to build clients for life. So, Emtec has been providing services for over 45 years, and it was a great fit for the Emerging Solutions team as well as others. So our service areas are broken down into 5 distinct areas. We've got a consulting services practice, infrastructure services, the packaged application services group, which is focused on the Oracle PeopleSoft applications, Fusion applications, Salesforce, Hyperion, eBusiness Suite, as long as the Microsoft Dynamics Suite. We also have a cloud-focused practice, as well as application development and managed services. So a PeopleSoft update. So I know everybody's always anxious to see when the next version of the application is going to be released, and it appears version 9.2 is going to be released in the first half of 2013. I've heard dates ranging from January to June, but I really think it's going to fall somewhere in the middle there, around middle end of March. We're expecting a direct upgrade path from version 8.9, 9.0 and 9.1 to 9.2. In general, Oracle goes back 3 kind of major releases to deliver a direct upgrade path. So we haven't had confirmation on that, but that's our going forward assumption. There's been, with version 9.2, and you're going to see some of this in our demo today, but there's been a big focus on making PeopleSoft more intuitive for end users via the activity guides and train stops. There is access to actionable information via pivot grids. They wanted to increase user effectiveness with WorkCenters, and also tools and technologies to enable your mobile workforce. With the Tools 8.5.3, that's expected to be released sometime in early 2013. In years past, the tools release has always preceded the application release, but I think this year they're kind of marrying those two together, so that should be in early 2013 as well. So the PeopleSoft Roadmap that was presented at Open World this past year should give comfort to a lot of those PeopleSoft customers that were concerned about Oracle's continued investment in the PeopleSoft application. As you can see here, in 2013, PeopleSoft 9.2 is going to come out, as well as Tools 8.5.3. But then if you look beyond that, they have plans to release 9.2 feature packs, as well as PeopleSoft 9.3, continued tools releases, so you can see that your investment with the PeopleSoft application, as it's presented now, is safe through well beyond 2018, 2019. So for those of you who have kind of heard some news out there or some information around, oh, the PeopleSoft application, nothing's going to happen beyond 9.2, or nothing, there aren't going to be any future enhancements. The roadmap and what we've seen in working with Oracle is that your investment within the PeopleSoft applications is safe for the years to come. All right, now we're going to jump over to reporting, and I'm going to hand it over to Mara.
Thank you, John. Good morning, everybody. As John mentioned, I'll be talking to you about Pivot Grids, BI Publisher, and then Connected Query. So to start, here is a brief overview of Pivot Grids. For those of you that have worked with pivot tables in Excel, it is very similar. It enables users to visually display data. You can pivot and filter, which allows analysts to interpret data in a variety of ways. It uses data sources like PeopleSoft Query, and there are 3 different visualizations. The first one being a grid-only option, where users are able to view the reporting data in a grid, and you can slice and dice the data. There is a chart-only option, where users are able to view the operational reporting data in a chart, and there is a grid and chart option, and the data between the grid and chart is synchronized for an accurate view. Pivot Grid also enables users to move between rows, columns, and report filters, resulting in a different view of the same information. So as I just said, there are 2 different display components. The grid display component is based on the PeopleSoft Analytic Grid, which enables multi-level display and a drag and drop operation. The chart display component, users can drill down on the chart by clicking on the different data points to display details. And there's also a drill out option, which restores the chart to its earlier state. So here's just a short video of the implementation process. So first you would navigate to Reporting Tools, Pivot Grid, and then Pivot Grid Wizard. And then I'm just going to search an existing query. And then after selecting the query, you follow steps 1 through 5. In the first step, you name the Pivot Grid. In step 2, you select the columns from the query which will be part of the Pivot Grid. In step 3, you select the different axes. And in step 4, you can select the different data model options. In step 5, you're allowed to preview your result. And then here you can drill down on the chart to show more detail. And you'll notice that the grid changes along with it. So after you save this page, you go back into Reporting Tools, Pivot Grid, and then Pivot Grid Viewer. And you can look up the models that you just generated. So you also have the option here to view it as a bar, line, or pie graph. And that's all I have for Pivot Grids. Next we have BI Publisher. BI Publisher is also known as XML Publisher. Oracle is trying to make this a new reporting platform standardized across all PeopleSoft applications, including Fusion and Hyperion. It is a reporting solution to manage and deliver all reports and documents easier and faster than traditional reporting tools. You can view your reports online and deliver thousands of documents with minimal impact to your transactional systems. There's a 3-layer caching mechanism which provides highly responsive and interactive reporting, and it enables users to design and create report layout templates with more common desktop applications like Microsoft Word and Adobe Acrobat, and it renders XML data based on those templates. It can also generate reports in many formats such as PDF, RTF, Excel, HTML, and so on. And last but not least, this approach to reporting can dramatically reduce your report maintenance. So here's another short video of the implementation process. It is very similar to Pivot Grids in that you go into Reporting Tools, next BI Publisher, Setup, and then the Design Helper. So this link will walk you through the steps of installing a Add-ins tab in Microsoft Word. And then next you're going to register the data source. So I'm going to search an existing query. and then you click on the regenerate hyperlink. And then after this, you save this data that appears, and then you're going to create a template. So you open up a new Word document, you click on the Add-ins tab, which you installed in previous steps, and then you click on the Data drop-down menu and then load the BI data. Next, you can insert charts and tables by dragging the different components in the drop-down menu. And you can select here what kind of chart you want, whether it be a pie or a bar graph. And then lastly, you can save it as a PDF document and then upload it back into PeopleSoft to view it online. So there are several benefits to BI Publisher. It has a lower report and form generation development cost. It eliminates the need to reverse engineer government forms into Crystal or SQR. There is a separation of report data from report format. You can reuse report data into multiple formats. And it provides the ability for end users to create report layouts from familiar desktop applications. The integrated data extracted is from PeopleSoft Query, and it is also flexible in inserting your own logo and message into templates. So for all of the HCM users listening out there, here are a few useful branding examples. First, we have a branded salary report. Next is a paycheck. And lastly is an offer letter, all of which have been branded with our logo. So letters and notifications which have existing XML BI templates can be branded and content can be modified to fit our organization's needs. Here are a few more BI Publisher samples. First, you have a management report where you can have a chart with summary functions and a table with detailed records. You can have an operational report with a summary calculation and running page totals, a bill of lading, which uses tables and barcode fonts, and other examples that show some of the outputs you can achieve with BI Publisher are government reports, tax forms, invoices, W-2s, paychecks, and financial statements. So the third new functionality is Connected Query. And Connected Query enables you to create a single XML file based on a set of queries with parent-child relationships. Users can create a set of linked simple queries to collect data from multiple tables instead of creating a complicated query with grouping conditions. When two or more SQL statements are linked with left outer join to the same query, it enables you to collect data similar to query performing left outer joins, and Connected Query also enables you to link multiple queries to a single parent query. It is also a tool in the process of replacing Crystal reports with XML Publisher reports. That's all I have for Connected Query. Next, Ryan is going to talk to you about related content.
All right, thanks a lot, Mara. Like John said, my name is Ryan Mack, and just a friendly reminder, if you have any questions at any time during the presentation, feel free to just type those into the meeting chat, and we'll get to them at the end. So moving on here, my first topic is related content. Related content is essentially any kind of additional content you want to link to an application page. So some examples of this would be discussions, links within the portal or externally, as well as tags. So one type of related content is the related action. This actually ties additional actions to a transaction page, which can be opened in a modal window, so there's no need to leave the transaction page. The related action appears as a red glyph in the designated field, and I'm going to show you an example of this in just a moment. Some benefits to related content include eliminating customizations. It has an open framework, so customers can develop all the services. It's interactive, and it is secure. So some examples of related content. On the HCM side, we have our org chart here, and it's an interactive org chart. As you can see when you click on Actions, you have a separate menu that opens up. Here we're going to click on Performance Management, and you have the option to view performance documents. Additionally, there is mouse over content, so there's an employee table. As you mouse over an employee's name, it's going to bring up additional information about the employee. So again, Examples include other related PeopleSoft pages, external websites, discussions, collaborative workspaces, as well as reports. So here's a short video that's going to show you an example of some related content on the Add Update Requisitions page. So as you can see, there's a red glyph under the business unit field. This is where the related action is held. So when you right-click on that, here's our related action. It's going to be pending requisitions. So this is going to open up within the same window. It's going to take us to a search page. And there's the extra window there. So this is actually a search page looking for existing requisitions that are pending approval within the same business unit. So something you might want to search for before adding your requisition. It's easy to get to. You don't have to open a completely separate window. And you can do this right from the transaction page. So what does PeopleSoft 9.2 hold for related content? Well, there's a few enhancements. There's going to be some embedded operational metrics around order fulfillment, as well as average time to pick, average time to pack, and ship. There's going to be some additional functionality within contracts that includes bill plans, revenue plans, and contract terms. Additionally, increased inventory analytics. This can be incorporated anywhere in PeopleSoft as related content. And tying back to pivot grids, which Mara talked to you about earlier, related actions will be able to be used within pivot grids. So the next topic here is PeopleSoft Pagelets. Pagelets are user-defined independent components within a PeopleSoft page. So there are a couple different types here. I'm going to focus mainly on homepage Pagelets, and these can be put on a user's homepage in a 2- or 3-column view. There are some options around the view of the Pagelets, whether they be wide or narrow. There's also workspace Pagelets, which can be used for members of collaborative workspaces. This could be used in a virtual team room, a project room, and template Pagelets are the last kind. They're added to a PeopleSoft template, and basically a portal template is made up of a bunch of template Pagelets that are organized and laid out however you want. So there is some personalization here, specifically regarding the homepage Pagelets. You can drag and drop under the personalized layout page, and you have some options regarding 2 or 3 columns and as many Pagelets as the user desires. So here are some examples of homepage Pagelets. This is just a simple Emtec news feed. Here we have a CNN World News feed and a stock ticker. On the HCM side, some delivered Pagelets include recruiter alerts, job openings, as well as a search function for job openings. So Pagelets are built on a wizard similar to the pivot grids. So the navigation here is People Tools, Portal, and then Pagelet Wizard. So it's a pretty simple process. It takes you through step by step. I'm going to find an existing Pagelet here that I've already created. It's going to be called Journals in Error. So the first step is simply naming and describing the Pagelet. Then we're going to choose our data source here. And here are our options. In this case, we're going to do a PeopleSoft query, but like we said, you can use pivot grids, an external URL, which would be the news feeds that I just showed you. So here, we're going to use a PeopleSoft query. The query name's already there, Journals in Error. We're going to specify the amount of rows that are returned. The format, we want this to look like a table. And here's a preview of the Pagelet. As you can see, what I'm doing here is actually linking the journal ID field to the specific transaction. So you'll see this in a second in the preview. So as you can see, the journal ID is now hyperlinked to take the user to that specific transaction. And the last step in the Pagelet wizard is just saving the Pagelet. We're going to save it as a homepage Pagelet so that the user can find it. And this is just filing it under the general ledger folder. So I'm going to take us out to our Emtec demo here just to give an example of some Pagelets. So here we're on our homepage. We have an AR open item. This is a pivot grid, which Mara had talked to you about earlier. This is in the form of a Pagelet. We also have this navigation Pagelet up on the left. And on the right, we have our CNN Pagelet. So essentially, you can click on any of these links, get it to open up in a new window, take you out to the news source. You can drag and drop if you want to change the layout. It's pretty simple. Additionally, you can personalize the content or layout. That's just another way to do the same thing. So under content, we have a lot of delivered pagelets that come with the portal pack, as well as our custom pagelets. So you select which ones you want to show. Under our layout, our personalized layout option, here's where we can choose 2 or 3 columns for pagelets. We can arrange these pagelets however we want in any of the 3 columns. So some future enhancements for pagelets. In PeopleSoft 9.2, there are going to be 4 standard delivered pagelets, which include my work, my links, queries, and reports and processes. There's also going to be some increased functionality with staffing pagelets and rapid action staffing. It's also going to incorporate related actions and the modal window capability associated with that. So the next topic here is work centers. Work centers are basically user portals for a specific role. So think of this as a role-based homepage. While your homepage is user customized, the work center is actually pre-built and delivered to the user. So on one column, you're going to have the menu, and then you're going to have your workspace in the other column. It's a streamlined user interface. Basically, it reduces the need for navigation and helps for increased productivity. It's available as part of People Tools, and it's built on templates, like any portal product. It incorporates related content and pagelets. It can be used with either template or homepage pagelets, actually. So basically, without this portal technology, your navigation, your search, your analytics, and your transaction pages are all separate windows. In the Work Center, it's all incorporated into one. So there's one location. This allows for consolidated delivery of actionable information. There's less navigations, like I mentioned, fewer open windows. This leads to better interruption mitigation as well. All your PeopleSoft work is saved on one page. There's less work lost due to interruption of a task. And lastly, there's a complete picture view. You can view a transaction through the entire process, all in one space. So here are some samples. This is an HCM Work Center. It uses Oracle Business Intelligence reporting as well. Here's our demo Work Center that we've created, and I'm going to take you out to the demo again. We have a purchasing center set up under our purchasing menu and purchasing Work Center. So here we are, the 2 panes. On the left, we have our navigation, and on the right is what they call the workspace area. So here we have this navigation. They call it an accordion navigation pagelet. So let's say I want to request an item, add update requisitions. It opens up right on the right here. These tabs, additionally, we have other pagelets that are run off of PeopleSoft queries. So this is purchase orders that require attention. We have it linked up, so you can click directly on this purchase order. It'll take you to that transaction page on the right side. So setting up the Work Center, use this Configure Work Center page. Here you can label the Work Center. You can change the default layout, the initial size, which is how the 2 panes relate to each other. You can also drag and drop it. And lastly, we have our pagelet groups. So that's where these tabs come from. You can name these, use the display order, and include however many pagelets the user desires. Click on our home. It takes us back to the starting page for the Work Center. So there are some enhancements to Work Centers coming in PeopleSoft 9.2. There are 4 standard delivered pagelets, like I mentioned. There's my work, my links, queries, reports, and processes. And these are going to be incorporated into pre-configured work centers for these roles that are listed here. They include payables, receivables, GL, etc. So my last topic here is going to be the PeopleSoft Approval Framework. So this is also known as Approval Workflow Engine. Basically, it's just a configurable workflow. You can set up rules and routings for approvals that are all maintained online. The biggest enhancement here is that email approval is enabled through Outlook. There's also some mobile support. The functionality has been extended to new modules. The workflow is configured online rather than in App Designer. And there's a new Approval Monitor page, which tracks documents and transactions through the entire process of approval. So some examples of different transactions that this could be applied to: requisitions, purchase orders, journal entries. On the HCM side, absence management, and some of the other ones listed. So here's what the process looks like. Here's a timesheet. Basically, the reported time needs approval. You click on the approval monitor. Here's where you can see there's 5 approvers required. 4 of them turned green. That means 4 of them have approved it. It's still being pending. It's still pending for one of the approvers. Basically, the email gets kicked off to Outlook that says you need to approve this. You open this little HTML attachment, and you can approve, deny, or pend right there. You can enter approver comments as well. So now I'm going to hand it off to John for our last section, which is the testing framework.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. Now we're going to be covering the PeopleSoft testing framework. So what the PeopleSoft testing framework is, it's a record and playback tool, and it automates tasks within the PeopleSoft application. It was actually included in Tools 851, enhanced in Tools 852. It replicates the actions of a single user executing functional tests against the PeopleSoft application. So the end users don't interact with the application any differently than they would. They're just recording the steps that they execute within the application. So they record their test steps and save them within the framework. They're stored in the database as app designer objects. So you can migrate them between environments and kind of bring them forward as part of an upgrade, or migrate them between your dev and test, etc. The test framework also assists with change impact analysis. So the benefits of the PTF: it automates testing to increase efficiency and accuracy. It ensures coverage of functionality. And as you can see, any automated testing tool is going to reduce your testing time and the number of resources required. You can easily migrate test assets between environments. And last but certainly not least, there are no additional software costs. So if you are current on your Oracle license, you do get the PTF delivered with the tools version 851 and later. So some of the limitations of PTF: you're unable to validate image appearance, the position of data, and also online objects. It's not meant to be a load testing tool. We've had a couple of clients attempt to use this as a load testing tool, where they'll kind of kick it off on multiple workstations, but it's not the most efficient use of the tool itself. There are certain user functions that it lacks, like drag and drop, and it also is unable to recognize and validate objects in third-party applications. So the architecture itself, it's a standalone program that runs on a Windows workstation. It connects to the PeopleSoft application database using a secure HTTPS connection through Integration Broker. And then the end user connects to the PeopleSoft application that's to be tested through an Internet Explorer browser session. So like I mentioned before, the end users do not interact any differently with the application. So the PTF Explorer, as you can see here, is a quick screenshot, and we're going to demo it in a second. But you can see it's got a tree structure where you can arrange and hierarchically categorize and organize your tests and test cases. It provides access to all of your PTF test assets. So these would include your test cases, your libraries, as well as your logs. And you use the Explorer to create and delete tests and folders, copy and move tests, as well as open test assets. The PTF Test Editor, this is where you record and edit your test scripts. You can add, copy, delete test steps. You can create and edit test cases. It allows you to view both the test and test case in a single window, and you use the Test Editor to debug all of your tests. So how to leverage the PTF in your next project. You'll want to identify and plan for its usage early, because it's going to take some time to migrate your existing test scripts to the PTF. You'll want to train your end users and development staff on how to utilize the PTF record and playback features. You're going to want to focus in on key business processes first to make sure that those get included in the test framework. You're also going to want to make sure that your test cases are ready for unit testing and system testing, because what that provides is an opportunity to test your testing framework prior to the user acceptance test, as well as your end users getting in and starting to use the test framework. So when to use the PTF? So we recommend using it for new implementation projects where there is limited or no existing testing documentation. Also where you have limited functional resources to participate in testing. Oftentimes it's difficult, whether it's month end or year end, it's difficult, or they have competing projects. It's difficult to get functional resources to participate in testing. Also, if you have a highly customized environment, very, very, very critical to be able to test effectively and make sure that you've got coverage. Also, when you have significant ongoing development projects, you're routinely deploying patches and fixes, and obviously it's worth the investment if you're committed to the PeopleSoft platform. So some of the best practices that we found when using the PTF, making sure that you're consistent with your naming conventions, so being descriptive by including the module, priority, and project name in the description. Record your tests whenever possible, so record every testing step we found to be more accurate than manually constructing through the test editor. Also, take opportunities to clean up your tests. So if you have tests that have, you clicked in the wrong field or you updated the wrong thing, go back through and either delete or inactivate those test steps. Also, there's the idea of using process types. So this eliminates the need for steps in running processes. You're able to just embed a process object type and kick off a particular project or process. And then also use dynamic tests, so using reserved words, variables, conditional logic, etc. Very, very important and can help to make your tests much more robust. And so we're going to see an example of passing a variable as part of our demonstration here. All right, so now we're going to switch over and we're going to demonstrate the test framework. Okay, so here is the test framework. Over here is the Explorer, and as you can see, we've got a lot of different tests and test folders out here where we have some of the data organized. What's nice about this is you can see all of your different test cases, as well as an audit log of when that test was last executed, by whom, and whether it passed or failed. So you can see the green flag means pass, the red flag means failed, and then we can go back in and drill into the test logs and see exactly where the issues were. But now we're going to pull up a vendor add. So this was a test I recorded earlier where I went through and executed adding a vendor into the PeopleSoft application. So I just went through and recorded it, and you can see all of the steps here. What's nice is if you ever wanted to change some of the values or create separate test cases, you could go ahead and this happens to be the default test case, but we can go ahead and change the default and just make it a different test case, whether it's a different vendor or we want to have different address or different values stored here. We have the capability to do that without having to create an entirely new test script. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to show you how to execute this particular test case. Okay, so one thing I wanted to point out is the use of a shell test. And so as you can see here, we've got 2 test cases with this shell. And what a shell test enables you to do is to be able to link multiple tests together to execute a complete business process. And so we've got a very simplified test case here where we've got our vendor add test case. And here you can see we are setting a variable of vendor add as part of our test case. And so we're going to go ahead and go back to the shell. And we're going to see that we're going to use that value of vendor ID that gets created as part of entering a requisition downstream. So this is enabling us to add a new vendor, and as that system auto-generates that vendor ID, we're able to pass that vendor ID to the subsequent requisition creation. So we're going to go ahead and start this. And as you can see, it's just going to execute the steps to